everyone, Renee here. So I've mentioned before that my approach to skincare largely is a holistic one and involves habits that go beyond just what products I use, because anything that affects my body will affect my skin as well. I've been asked so much about what I also do outside of my skincare routines that really assist my well-aging journey. So I'm going to start off by talking about diet. I'm just going to highlight a few dietary habits that have really benefited me and as a result my skin health as well. Of course, and as always, this is my personal journey. When it comes to health and wellness, there really is no one size fits all. It's been kind of a lifetime journey of discovery, which keeps evolving too, but I'm happy to share with you what really works for me. I should mention that I am not entirely virtuous in my food choices. Rather, what really works for me is balance, and that's what I strive for. If I have a salad, it will come with a side of fries. I just enjoy eating all the things far too much, so it's just way better for me to focus on balance over what to avoid. And for me, balance in diet, and this does really affect my reactive skin, is all about preventing inflammation or decreasing it, managing it. Whenever there's an imbalance in the body of what in TCM terms is called heat, that is inflammation, that definitely affects my skin. This is very much affected by diet and overly indulging in poor choices, but also by our lifestyle, lack of sleep, and a lot of stress. This has caused me to get pimples, exacerbated hormonal acne. More often though, what it does is it gives me hives. I get hives a lot on my skin, a lot of times anything that affects my digestion. One of the most important things that I strive to do every day, and it really should be a lot easier of a task, is drinking enough liquids, whether it's in the form of plain water, which is my least favorite form, or a tonic. I remember posting a recipe ages ago on my favorite sort of anti-inflammatory, immunity boosting tonic, which I still love. Whatever it takes, I just always try to make sure I get enough liquids and my body stays hydrated to lower the inflammation, and it's just good detoxing. I don't drink liquids to have more hydrated skin because that's just not how any of it works. Whatever our organs or our body does not need gets eliminated. If I want my skin to be hydrated, which I most certainly do, then I will use a topical formula. That is the only way to really keep your skin hydrated. In the same way, antioxidants are super important in our diets to reduce and prevent inflammation, which may in turn affect the quality of our skin. But that's not the same as topically applying antioxidants or, let's say, vitamin C, ascorbic acid on our skin to promote collagen synthesis. I've done a few videos on how I feel that green tea and matcha really positively impacted my skin, especially when I started drinking it daily. Along with my topicals and skincare regimen, I really feel that it helped to make a difference with, the intensity of my hormonal acne. My whole life I've been a tea drinker, and growing up in Asia is just a normal part of your meal, to counteract anything in your food that might be just too oily or create too much heat. I personally prefer bole or a good oolong tea. Green tea was an acquired taste that I developed a little later, but also matcha I fell in love with. Just the whole ritual of it is just really soothing and calming to me. Each cup of matcha also contains like the highest level you can get of EGCG or antioxidants in your diet. I heard that it can be up to like over 130 times the amount of EGCG that you would get from regular black tea. So it's a real power shot, and I can feel the difference when I started making it just a habit. The times when I just feel my body's really going through it, nothing's balanced, I'm getting like stress zits, even my gums hurt from just really bad food choices, that's when I just load up on the tea, particularly the matcha, and it does really help quite quickly too. Speaking of the calming ritual of matcha, I really need things like that in my life because I tend to be easily anxious. My mind won't really stop, especially at nighttime, so I tend to be a terrible sleeper and am prone to insomnia. And not sleeping well or sleeping enough just really impacts everything. It throws everything off. And when my body is tired, my skin is also really tired, and it looks tired. A while back, I actually discovered calming foods as well. Anything that might just help relax me. So a dear friend of mine introduced me to cherry juice, which has been a huge game changer for me. Of course, it has to be 100% cherry juice and not like cherry flavored juice, which means this will be tart, but this is something I drink at nighttime when I just want to settle down, and it really works. It's an easier transition when I'm relaxing into a sleeping state. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all to find out that tart cherry juice contains tryptophan and melatonin in pretty good levels. Tryptophan, as you know, is what's in turkey that makes us really, really sleepy after Thanksgiving dinner, and melatonin is the sleep hormone. And of course, this is antioxidant rich as well. I mean, look at the color of it. The richer the color of the berry, then the higher the antioxidant value as well. In fact, my friend who introduced me to this swears by the fact that she believes this really kind of helps her knee pain that comes from an injury from years ago. And of course, that would have to do with the whole anti-inflammatory effect of it as well. That I am way more of a fish person than I am a meat person. Can easily just be a pescatarian because that's how I naturally eat. I love fish. Can't talk about anti-inflammation in the diet without mentioning the omegas and the omega oils. Fish oils are rich in omega-3s, but also eggs, which I eat quite a bit of, mainly because I am convinced that when I'm eating eggs, there's less hair loss for me. But tofu and nuts, these are things that I naturally eat a lot of. The one time that I experienced a kind of food-related breakout was actually when I was taking omega-6 supplements, because at the time it was all the rage, evening primrose supplements, and I realized that every time I started taking them, I would get quite a bad breakout actually around my jawline. And when I stopped, they would go away, but when I started taking them again, they would come back. And it turns out, when I was just doing a bit of my own research, it turns out that my diet already contains so much omega-6 naturally. And so that's something I'm always a little more careful about. There are a few things that I have to avoid altogether simply because my body is intolerant to these things. In a way, just like for my skin, having certain sensitivities has forced me to be a lot gentler and maybe having better habits. So alcohol, sadly, is something that years ago I started to develop an allergy to. I never had a problem consuming before, but then one day, almost immediately after a sip, my sinuses would get blocked, but also I would develop the worst headache. Another side effect is when I drink even a little bit, my skin would turn bright red. I'm not just talking about the skin on my face, and it's quite intense, like all over my body. It would turn red, but also it would be hot to the touch. And we know with the skin on our faces, whenever a formula causes our skin to go red and be hot to the touch, that means inflammation. That means you need to stop using it. So for me, I really, really limit my intake. Of course, there are some alcohols I have less of an issue with than others. Dairy is just one of those things that my stomach hates. It can cause me a tremendous amount of physical pain, which is so disrespectful of how good cheese and ice cream taste. So I really, really limit my intake to what's worth it. But I have heard that a lot of people who have had, hormonal acne or just issues with acne in general, when they do cut dairy out of their diets, that they do see significant difference and improvement. A lot of that can have to do with, hormones or whatever is going in to that milk or going into the animal. I like to make sure that anything I eat is hormone-free. So that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm wishing you great skin health. Bye.